First time kita buat malam tak pernah-pernah. Okay, sebab pagi tadi saya macam tak sihat sikit. Semalam sebenarnya dah start. Okay, pening-pening dan sebagainya. Okay, malam ni ada 3 group. So kita start dengan the first group Alright, boleh proceed terus.
Boleh nampak slide tak?
Okay, clear?
Okay, boleh start dah
Boleh.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good evening to Dr. Bahya and fellow classmates. Today, me and my group will be presenting topic organizational change, but we will focus on process of organizational change and approaches in managing resistance to change. I, Rabiatin Adawiyah binti Rozaki, matric number 049795, will be explaining the internal process. Wan Aina Maja binti Wan Johari, matric number 049424, will be presenting the external process. And Taraniswari anak perempuan Altamanggam, matric number 049581, will be elaborating the approaches in managing resistance to change. Next. First of all, what is organizational change? Organizational change is the movement of an organization from its existing situation to a more effective condition. It also can be explained as a modification of an organization's environment, structure, technology, or people. However, change also can be targeted as a threat to the organization as the change is not anticipated and they are obligated to follow the flow. And next. As mentioned before, we are focusing in the process of organizational change. I'm going to share with you guys what is the process. The process of organizational change can be either internal or external. These processes resulted in organization to be able to cope with the changes by being agile and quickly react. There are 3 internal processes, which are strategic changes, cultural changes, and needs and values. First, strategic changes. Strategic changes are the changes that happen because of the transformation in the strategic management of organization, which could lead to a decline in the effectiveness of the employee. Due to this change, organization would be seen as a different organization as it is no longer feel the same. Changes in leadership style will bring a different types of management style that can cause dissatisfaction to employee. Second, cultural changes. Cultural changes can be the reason to the organization change, as people resist change due to many reasons. One of them is habit. People do not like when they are told to do something opposite with what they usually did. Same goes with the organization. When there are changes in organization, it is difficult for the employee to fully follow the changes. They need to familiarize themselves with the new system, which could take a long time for some of them. Lastly is needs and values. Organizations need to consider the needs and values of their employees, as this can affect the effectiveness of our performance. People nowadays prioritize the quality of life more than the financial reward when they are applying to a job. So organizations should consider the initiation of flexible working hours, compressed work week, and childcare facilities. The change, the change in needs and values is a strong driving force for organizational change. That's all from me. Next,
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning. My name is Wan Aina Balia binti Wan Johari. So I will continue with external forces of change. External environment affects the organizations both directly and indirectly. The organizations do have any control over the variables in such an environment.
Aina, suara awak halus sangat. Macam jauh je
Accordingly, the
gitu.
organization cannot change the environment, but yeah. Tak
Dekatkan
dengar.
sikit dengan
Okay.
dekat dengan mic tu.
Okay, semula eh.
Ah,
Sekarang dengar tak? Okay.
better.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good evening. My name is Wan Aina Mardia binti Wan Johari. So I will continue with external forces of change. External environment affects the organizations both directly and indirectly. The organizations do not have any control over the variables in such an environment. Accordingly, the organization cannot change the environment but must change themselves to align with the environment. So there are 6 external forces of change. The first one is workforce diversification. It is the differences of background, education, language skills, rules among employees. The demographic trends contributing to workforce diversity, such as the workforce will see increased participation from females, as the majority of new workers will be female. In order to maintain a harmonious relationship with all the members of a diverse workforce, human resources policies and practices should change. Many organizations have invested vast sums of money on preparation to enhance their understanding of the variations between their workers. Second one is technology. The introduction of emerging technologies such as computers, telecommunication systems, and flexible development practices has a profound influence on the organizations that implement them. Computer management replacement for direct supervision results in wider spans of control for managers and flatter organizations. Individuals who do routine, specialized, and limited jobs will be replaced by employees who can engage actively in decision-making and perform multiple tasks. Managers would have to increase their investment in employee training and education because the skills of workers are becoming more and more obsolete. Japanese companies have performing better because they are very quick to implement new innovative technologies. The third one is competition from globalization. The global economy means it is likely that rivals will come from across the ocean. Multinational and transnational companies are the major players in the global market. This has driven businesses to think globally. There are no mental differences between operations at domestically and abroad. For an organization, globalization means rethinking the most productive ways of using money, distributing and collecting information, and developing new business models. individuals. Not only structural changes, but also changes in the minds of employees are needed. In response to the rivalry, effective companies would be the ones who can change. They would be fast on their feet, capable of rapidly creating new products and quickly bringing them to market. The fourth is social trends. In the past 2 decades, some changes that organizations must adapt to are often indicated by social environment. Because of the fashion awareness and a lot of government effort, there are many social movements, social equity, equal equal pay for each shaping its employment, marketing and other policies. Management should follow those social norms. The fifth one is economic shocks. Unexpected trends of global economic developments lead many firms to bankruptcy. Economic problems lead to uncertainty and major breakdown will occur if organizations are not prepared for
Line problem ni kot, kan? Rabi. Ke macam mana?
Lag tu rasa doktor.
Rasanya doktor sebab internet
terkeluar.
internet kot. Sebab tengah hujan sekarang.
Okay.
Sekejap
A very good evening to our lecturer and also our fellow classmates. I'm Taraniswari Atmalingam and I will continue with the presentation. Can everyone hear me clearly? Yes. All right, thank you for the responses. Okay, let us continue with the presentation. The fifth process is economic shocks. The major breakdown will occur if organizations are not prepared for unplanned change. Example, security market crashes, interest rate fluctuations, and foreign currency fluctuation. The last one is world politics. It's constant changes in the ruling government and major political downturn affect organizations greatly. The example are reunification of Germany, Iraq's invasion of Kuwait, and the break of Soviet Union. All right, next. Okay, next, let us continue to the managing resistance to change. As we all know, change is a day-to-day reality for an organization. Okay. In order for the organization to succeed, it needs to adapt to the changes. In this topic, we will look at the 6 approaches that can be used by the organization in managing resistance to change. But before that, let us also look at the reasons that lead to resistance to change. We have a quite number of reasons. The first one is poor communication. It arises due to or it occurs when there is a discrepancy between what is said and what is heard. The instruction given also might be misunderstood by the employees. The second one is fear of failure. It can be caused by the inability to delegate or trust others to perform their work correctly. The third one is peer pressure. It occurs when employees tend to be overwhelmed by the quality of or amount of work given. The next one is fear of unknown. Actually, it is a natural human reaction, but within an organization, it can be meant by the fear of job uncertainties or unpredictability. The last reason is personality conflicts. It arises due to fundamental incompatibility in their personalities or in their approach towards certain things. Now, let us look at the approaches that can be used by the organization. The first one is Okay, the first one is education and communication. In this approach, it is done by educating the employees on the importance of the change that they have to undergo. It is done through face-to-face discussion and mass presentation. Once persuaded, employees will often help with the implementation of the change. The second approach is participation and involvement. Employees will participate in designing work activities and the change process. It is reinforced by encouraging them to contribute more ideas and solutions towards adapting the changes. Next. All right, the third approach is facilitation and support. It emphasizes on interpersonal relations, takes a personal interest in the needs of employees and assess individual differences. In this method, assistance and training are provided to show support and also to ensure change will take place permanently. The next approach is negotiation and agreement. It engaged the employees in a discussion on actual and potential resistors that might block change from occurring. Extra incentives and some reassurance will be given to the employees. Both parties will be in the negotiation table and discuss till they reach a consensus. Next is the next approach is manipulation and cooptation. It is done by providing information and organizing events to obtain maximum support for the proposed change. It manipulates the resistor by providing them opportunity to hold authority. The last approach is explicit and implicit coercion. In this method, change agent will centralize authority, dictate work methods, make unilateral decisions, and limit employees' participation in the decision-making process. Change agent will use their power to make the employees accept the change through explicit and implicit threat to resistor. Okay, that's all for the approaches that can be used by the management in managing resistance to the change. Hereby, we end our presentation for today. Thank you and have a good day, everyone.
Okay, thank you. Second group please. So hari ni 4 group Okay Kak, saya tak ada masalah. So next week saya boleh cover lah 3 chapter tu sebelum awak buat test. Kan? Okay, proceed. Second group.
Okay, everyone can see our slide. Can hear my voice?
Yes.
Clear, clear.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let us start the presentation. A very good morning to our lovely lecturer, Dr. Bahaya, and my fellow friends. Today, we like to present about the organizational change. Before that, I'm Vishalini Ganesang, and my group members are Shirashini Sukumaran and Devika Palu. We focus on the forces of change and process of changes.
Yes.
Next slide. So, what means by the organizational change, which the changes in organizational behavior and the employees' attitudes to move from current state to a desired future state, and a change in one of the organizational environment can create difficulties. There are two processes in which an organization change its structures, strategies, operational method, technologies, or organizational culture to affect the change within the organization. And organization change can be continuous or occur for distinct periods of time. So next slide, I pass to Shilashini.
Causes of changes divide into two. It is internal causes and external causes. Internal causes, strategic change. Different leaders will bring different management style, and this transition will bring dissatisfaction to workers if not well explained to them. Culture change, which means habit change. People dislike being asked or told to do something opposite of what they are used to do or have been doing previously. Needs and value. Many employees leaning more towards quality of life and less toward financial reward. Next. External causes. For external causes, divided into six pressure. First, diversification. Work diversification is different in background, education, language, and etc. Human resources policies have to change in order to maintain a harmonious relationship. Technology. Rapid technology innovation is changing jobs and organization. For example, the transition from manpower to more computer control has increasing the division of authority. Competition from globalization. This change involved in a huge amount of investment and manpower planning. Social trends. Evolution in social trends suggests that organization change. Example from textbook. Younger generation are delaying marriage and more divorces cases are occurring. Since most younger generation to stay single longer, the demand for fast food increased tremendously. Economic shocks. Unexpected pattern of global economic changes lead many business to bankruptcy. For example, due to the COVID-19 export and import ban. World politics. Constant changes in ruling government riots and major political downturn affect organization greatly. Next slide, I will pass to Vishal.
Microphone off, okay.
Now we want to see the change process by Kurt Lewin. The process of change has three phases that moves an organization from undesirable state to a difficult transition period, desired new state. They are unfreezing, changing, and refreezing. The first step are unfreezing current situation, which means change is encouraging individuals to discard and abandon old behavior by supporting them to leave the status quo. An organization have to understand the importance of discarding old behaviors and be fully ready to let it go. Moreover, an organization have to recognize the need of for change and determine what needs to change, and encourage the replacement of the old behaviors and attitudes, and ensure the strong support from the management for employees, and manage and understand the doubts and concerns from the employees. So the second step, we want to see the changing towards desired situation. It means transformation process is where new attitudes, values, and behaviors are substituted for the old ones. Furthermore, an organization have to plan or implement the changes by integrating new option, by explaining to the employees about the rationale of the changes, and provide training by the change agents to assign the employees involved developing skill, and the management also need to support them in development stage. Therefore, it helps the employees to learn new concept of points of use. And thirdly, we want to see the refreezing change situation to substance desired changes, which means stabling the situation, encouraging the long-term acceptance, and it will establish to new attitudes and values and behaviors as new status quo of the employees. From there, the changes are re-uniform, reinforced, and stabilized in an organization to integrate changes into normal ways of doing things and develop the ways substance of change. By the way, these may employees must experience the positive consequence of change. From these three steps, I want to give some example. For example, unfreezing. Uh, if a photostat shop decide to change a new copier machine because of the old copier machine makes some problem, that may changing planning to change, so it recognized as unfreezing, and the changing, they buy a new machine and give training to the employees to improve their skills in the new machine, and it's called changing process. And then the last refreezing means the management have to refreeze the new behavior of the staff, and they do not stop slip back to into the old machine practices. It's called refreezing. So the management encourage and for the future with the new machines. So the next slide I pass to Devika.
Okay. Another model that can be utilized in implementing change was created by John Cotter. His model is based on Levin's three-step model. As you can see in the slide, there are 8 steps to be taken in Cotter's model. Step 1, create urgency, where you need to develop a sense of urgency around the need of change. This may help you to spark the initial motivation to get things moving. For example, of what you can do is that identify potential threats and develop scenarios showing what could happen in the future. Examine opportunities that should be or could be, and start honest discussion and give dynamic and convincing reasons that get people thinking and talking. Step 2, form a powerful coalition where you need to bring together a team of influential people whose power comes from a variety of sources, including job titles, status, expertise, political importance. For example of what you can do is that identify the true leaders in your organization. Ask for emotional commitment from these key people. Work on a build, Work on a team building and check your team for weak areas. Step 3. Create a vision for change. You need to link the ideas and concept to an overall vision because a clear vision can help everyone to understand why you are asking them to do something. For example, of what you can do is that to determine the values that are central to the change and create a strategy to execute the vision. Step 4. Communicate the vision frequently and powerfully to make decisions and solve problems. For example, talk often about your change vision and apply your vision to all aspects of operations like from training to performance reviews. Step 5. Remove obstacles. Put in place the structure for change and continually check for barriers for it. Because removing obstacles can empower the people you need to execute the vision and it can help the change move forward. For example, recognize and reward people for making change happen and identify people who are resisting the change. Take action to quickly remove the barriers. Step 6. Create a short-term wins where you create short-term targets and not just one long goals. For example, look for surefire project that you can implement without any help from any critics of the change. And don't choose early targets that are expensive. Step 7. Build on the change where you keep on looking for the improvements. Like set goals to continue building on the momentum you have achieved. And after every win, analyze what went wrong and what needs to be improved. And the last step is to anchor the changes in the corporate culture, where the change should be the part of the core of the organization. You can talk about the progress every chance you get. For example, include the change ideals and values when hiring and training new staffs. As you can see, step 1, 2, and 3 create a climate for change. Step 4, 5, and 6 engage and enable the organization. And finally, step 7 and 8 implement and sustain the change. That's all from my group. Thank you.
Okay, third group please.
Tu Jeremy ada masalah internet.
Okay.
Minta maaf. Dah boleh start ke doktor?
Seorang lagi mana?
Sekejap ya.
Dia dengar.
Okay, Syafiq, mana kamera? Okay, get ready.
Okay.
Boleh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good evening to Dr. Bahia and to all my fellow friends. Today our group will present about stress management. So my name is Muhammad Safiq bin Zulkifli. My metric number is 049981. So I will talk about introduction. Cik Mi boleh tukar slide?
Kenapa?
Introduction. Okay. Introduction of stress. Stress is the body's react to any change that require an adjustment or response. The body react to these changes with physical, mental and emotional responses. Stress is a normal part of life. You can experience stress from your environment, your body and your thought. So maksudnya di sini stres adalah reaksi tubuh terhadap perubahan dan memerlukan penyesuaian tindak balas badan terhadap perubahan fizikal, mental dan emosi. So, stres adalah satu perkara yang sangat normal dan ia merupakan sebahagian daripada kehidupan seharian kita. So, stres ni boleh tercetus disebabkan dari persekitaran kita, badan kita dan fikiran kita. So, stress management is a wide spectrum of techniques and psychotherapists aim at controlling a person level of stress, especially chronic stress, usually for the purpose of and for the motive of improving everyday functioning. So maksudnya di sini stress management atau pengurusan stres ni adalah teknik dan tujuan psikoterapis untuk mengawal tahap stres seseorang individu, terutamanya terhadap seseorang yang mengalami masalah stres yang kronik. So stress management ni dia bertujuan untuk meningkatkan motivasi kehidupan seharian kita dan membantu kita untuk keluar daripada masalah stres tu sendiri. Okay, I will pass to the next presenter, Muhammad Subeki.
Okay, my name is Muhammad Subki bin Mansur. Matric number 050889. I will talk about nature of the stress. Okay, nature of the stress. Stress is a dynamic condition in which an individual is confronted with an opportunity, a demand of resource related to what individual desire, and for which the outcome is perceived to be both uncertain and important. Eustress is the positive effect of stress, whereas distress is the negative effect of stress. Okay, now we go to consequence of stress. Stress can sometimes enhance performance. However, despite this benefit, stress is normally viewed as bad due to its negative consequence. These consequences include physiological, psychological, and behavioral type of consequence. First is physiological symptom. Is any term or internal condition that challenge the homeostasis of a cell or an organism. It can be divided into three different aspects, which is environmental stress, intrinsic development stress, and aging. Now we go to for example of physiological symptom is facial freezing, blood pressure rising, and fast or racing heartbeat. And then physiological symptom. Physiological symptom describe things that are primarily mental or emotional, but it can also be used when referring to the field of psychology. For example, is confused thinking or reduced ability to concentrate. Next, excessive fear or worries, or extreme feeling of guilt. And then extreme mood change of high and low. For the last of type of consequence is behavioral symptom. It is action or reaction of the environment or to internal thought and emotion. Behavioral symptoms are persistent or repetitive behavior that are unusual, disruptive, inappropriate, or cause problem. Example for behavioral symptom is procrastinating and avoiding responsibility. Number two is increased use of alcohol, drug, or cigarette. And then last is exhibiting more nervous behavior, such as nail biting, fidgeting, and pacing. That's all for me. Next, we go to the next presenter. Thank you.
So my name is Muhammad bin Muhammad Razi. My metric number is 050990. So I will present about relationship between stress level and performance, and also managing stress. So Whether stress is a positive or negative relationship performance depends on the amount of stress experienced by an individual. So there are three levels of stress. First is low level of stress. The employee will feel bored and that can give the poor performance to the company. Second is high level of the stress. The employee will feel overwhelmed and not able to commit with the task, and also that can affect the company performance. Third is moderate level of stress. The employee will display good performance and it also will give positive effect for the company. So now we move to the managing stress. There are two ways to manage the stress, which are individual approach and organizational approach. So for the individual approach, first is implementing proper time. For example, we can come to workplace early or at the right time. Second is increase physical exercise. For example, we can go workout or do something outdoor activities. Third is providing relaxing technique. For example, yoga. And last, for the individual approach is expanding social network. For example, we can go hang out with friends or do some interesting activities with friends. So for the organizational approach, first is ensuring appropriate personnel selection and job replacement. The organization must replace the employees in accordance with the personnel suitability of employee. Second is providing training. The organization need to do some training for the employee to avoid the stress among employee. Third is setting realistic goals. The organization must set the logical goals that employee can achieve without make employee feel burdened. Four is redesigning job and increasing employee involvement. The organization need to make the job that can make employee feel happy and enjoy do that job. Fifth is improving communication. The organization can improve the social network between employee and management. And last, for organizational approach is allowing employee sabbaticals. The organization should give the break if the employee have some emergency problem. So that's all from me. Now, next I will pass to Safiq for the conclusion.
Mic off tu Syafiq.
Okay, sorry. Okay, conclusion. Managing stress at work means learning to manage situation differently, but it also means learning how to manage oneself, knowing one's resources, and making better use of one's personal abilities. Then knowing how to manage stress at work or in any professional and personal context depends not only on internal situations but on our way of perceiving and understanding them. So maksudnya managing stress ni ia bagus untuk meningkatkan ilmu dalam menguruskan situasi yang berbeza dalam masa yang sama. Kita juga dapat belajar untuk menguruskan diri sendiri. Selain itu, managing stress juga membantu kita untuk mengetahui behaviour seseorang untuk memanfaatkan kemampuan peribadi seseorang dengan lebih baik apabila kita belajar untuk menguruskan stres. And lastly, dia juga membantu kita untuk mengetahui bagaimana menguruskan stres di tempat kerja atau di tempat-tempat lain dan hal-hal peribadi kita dalam membantu kita memahami menguruskan stres. So kita dapat menyelesaikan masalah stres kita dengan lebih baik dan menjalani kehidupan yang lebih baik. Okay, that's all from our group. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The final group, please. Tapi kan berkaitan stres ni, it is really really apa orang kata macam it's very difficult lah nak handle actually kan, especially kalau when you are working, you makan gaji kan, so you have to bear in mind that you are working. Macam lagu apa, sebentar ku pulang tu, macam tu kan, jadi kena telan juga all the stress kan. Tapi that is the reality lah. It's not easy to handle stress. Kadang-kadang kita boleh jadi sampai mental pun sebenarnya because of the stress situation. It's very very hard to control. Even though kita ni apa, Islamic ke, kuat pergi apa masjid ke, kalau yang Indian tu kuat pergi kuil kan, semayang aja. Tapi kalau dah stres tu, stres juga, payah nak cakap. And then macam tu yang jatuh sampai kita buat benda-benda pelik-pelik semua tu kan. Macam, oh sorry lah, orang nak present dah. Okay. Dia dah pasang kamera dia. Okay. Seorang lagi mana? Kenapa cantik sangat Hazimah hari ni? Natasha Alia, mana wajah you? Gitu. Okay, boleh proceed. Template kat siapa awak pakai tu?
Saya punya madam.
Okay.
Dah buka dah. Okay. Dah ke?
Dah boleh start.
Okay, dah boleh start Okay, Assalamualaikum and good evening. I bid to Dr. Mazia, Dr. Baya and all my fellow friends. Before I start, I would like to introduce all my group members. Okay, the first group members is me, Nur Natasha Alia Kaisa binti Abdullah, 050981. And the second member is Nur Narira binti Abdul Ghaffar, 050947. And the last member is Hazima binti Ibrahim, 05. Yeah? Hello?
Dengar.
Okay. Okay, the last member is Hazima binti Ibrahim, 050163. Okay, next. Hello, dengar ke?
Dengar.
Dengar.
Okay, today we would like to present the topic of stress management. Okay, next. Okay, the content that we would like to present is nature of emotion and moods, sources of emotion and moods, emotional label, and emotional intelligence. If you have textbook, you can turn to page 309. Okay, now I will pass to Hazima.
Assalamualaikum. I'm Hazimah binti Ibrahim. Will present about nature of emotion and moods. Okay, next. Okay, emotion, moods, and other related concepts are important in the study of organizational behavior. To understand emotion and moods, we first need encompasses a broad to understand affect, a term that encompasses a broad range of feeling that people experience. Okay, affect can be experienced in the form of emotion, moods, values, and attitude. So what differentiate emotion from moods? Okay, moods can last for hours, while emotion lasts anywhere from seconds to minutes at most. This is why it typically easier to identify emotional trigger, but difficult to pinpoint the trigger for our moods. Okay, moods also don't have their own unique facial impression, whereas the universal emotion do. Okay, emotions are intense feelings that are direct at a person or things and triggered by an object, while moods are feelings that tend to be less intense and emotions and often contextual stimulus. Emotions are believed to be more fleeting than moods. Okay, for example, someone may say or do something to you that leads to a quick and intense reaction, be it positive or negative. That intense emotion may pass very quickly, maybe in a few seconds or minutes. However, when you are in a bad mood, that feeling is likely to remain for several hours. Okay, there are numerous emotions that include optimism, admiration, submission, amazement, disapproval, remorse, contempt, and aggressiveness. Next slide. Okay, diagram shows that Platic wheel of emotion. Okay, Robert Platic created a new conception of emotion in 1980. He called it the wheel of emotion. Okay, because it demonstrates how different emotion can blend into one another and create new emotion. Okay, Platic first suggested eight bipolar emotion. First is joy versus sadness, anger versus fear, trust versus disgust, and surprise versus anticipation. Okay, from there, Platic identify more advanced emotion based on their difference in intensities. If you look at the diagram show, you can see how each emotion relate to the others. Okay, next slide. Source of emotion and moods. Okay, emotion and moods are influenced by various factors. Okay, first is personality. People naturally differ in how intensely they experience the same emotion. While a person may be angry towards something, other might feel nothing about it. This is because people have built-in tendencies to experience certain moods and emotion more frequently than others do. Okay, the second is weather. Okay, many people believe that their emotion and moods are influenced by weather. People believe that they have a better mood in good weather. Okay, the third is stress. Okay, mountain level of stress at work can worsen a person's mood and tend to experience negative emotion. Okay, for instance, being scolded by boss for not meeting a monthly target, meeting a few deadlines, and many more may cause a person to experience a high level of stress, and it takes a toll on mood. Okay, for example, we students, if we submit last minute our assignment and then lecturer will scold at us, so we will stress. So stress. Okay, that's for example. Okay, next is social activities. Um, for most people, social activities, which is include hanging out with friends, may increase positive mood. Okay, research suggests that informal social activities, such as cycling with friends and going shopping, are positively relate to good mood rather than formal one. Okay, next is sleep. When people get enough sleep, they tend to have better mood compared to those who are sleep deprived. People, a poor sleep quality impairs decision making and makes it difficult to control emotion. Okay, the next is exercise. Regular exercise enhance positive mood. Exercise help to reduce stress. When people are in a state stress-free, their moods will be better. Okay, next is uh next is age. Okay, do younger people experience more positive emotion than older people? Okay, the truth is when people get older, they have more emotional stability. So older people are more likely to have positive emotion and moods than younger one. Okay, the last one is gender. Okay, this is the famous one. Research found that women are more emotional than men. They experience emotion more intensely and hold on the emotion longer than men. Okay, next.
Okay, next. My name is Nadira binti Abdul Ghaffar. I will present emotional labor. The definition for emotional labor, based on Robbins and Judge, is stated that an employee's expression of organizational desired emotions during interpersonal transactions at work. Next, it is under display rules. Display rules are divided into two, which are feeling rules and expression rules. Feeling rules are appropriate and inappropriate feeling. For an example, the manager is supposed to feel angry when an employee makes mistake. Expressions rules is what emotion and how it should be expressed based on settings. For an example, the managers are supposed to be angry with the facial expression and the tone of voice shown. It means that the manager itself has to have a facial expression of the angriness and the tone of voice should be higher compared to when the facial expression when he are happy and the tone of voice when they are bubbly. Next is emotional dissonance. It means that it occurs when employees are expected to express feelings that contradict what they feel. This means that when doing job, some of the employees are expected to do things different than what they want to express. Next, I will pass this to Natasha.
Okay, I'm Natasha Alia Kaiza. I will continue with the subtopic of emotional intelligence. Okay, next. Okay, the definition of emotional intelligence is the ability of individuals to recognize their own emotions and that of others. Okay, next. Okay, the purpose of emotional intelligence is discriminating different emotions and labeling them. Second, use emotional information as guidance. Lastly, managing emotion to adapt environment and achieve goals. Okay, next.
Hilang dah kawan awak. Line problem
Line problem. Nanti dia masuk balik.
Okay. Kalau tak ada, you all boleh tolong cover? Okay, Alhamdulillah.
Okay, Okay, sorry. Tadi komponen tu sempat ke self-awareness tadi?
Tak sempat, Tasha. Tasha.
Mana?
Okay. Component of emotional intelligence. Okay, the first, dengar ke?
Dengar.
Jelas.
Tak boleh tutup ya? Ke?
Dengar.
Okay, we continue. We continue with the component of emotional intelligence. So the first component is self-awareness. Self-awareness is the ability to recognize and understand personal moods, emotions, and their effect on others. And the second component is self-regulation. Self-regulation is the ability to control or redirect disruptive impulse and moods, able to suspend judgment and think before act. Okay, the third component is internal motivation. Internal motivation is passion to work for internal reasons that go beyond external reward. Okay, next. Next is empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand the emotional makeup of others. And the last component is social skills. Social skills is the ability and proficiency in building networks and managing relationships that find common ground and build rapport with others. Okay, before we end our presentation, we have prepared a short video so that you can understand more about this topic. Hope you enjoy.
When we hear the word emotion, most of us think of love, hate, happiness, how strong feelings we experience throughout life. Our emotions are the driving force behind many of our behaviors, helpful and unhelpful. Just where do our emotions come from? Our brain is wired to look for threats in our lives. If one is detected, the family region of the brain alerts us to the release of chemical messages. Emotions are the effect of these chemical messages traveling from our brain through the body. When our brain detects a potential threat, our brain releases the stress hormones, adrenaline and cortisol, which prepare us for a fight or flight response. When we detect or experience something rewarding, such as someone doing something nice for you, our brain releases dopamine, oxytocin, or serotonin. These are the chemicals that make us feel good and motivate us to continue on the task or behavior. In these instances, the feeling region of the brain kicks in before the thinking part. Sometimes the reactions of the feeling brain are so strong that it dominates our behaviors, and we're unable to think rationally in the moment. Our emotions hijack our brain. While many of our emotional responses happen subconsciously, our thinking can influence our emotions, and sometimes it can be unhealthy. Just thinking about something threatening can trigger an emotional response. This is where we can manage our emotions with conscious thinking. Our emotions play a powerful role in the way we experience the world. Understanding and regulating our emotions through our thoughts and behaviors can help us take greater control of our brain and achieve our goals.
Okay, thank you very much. So Alhamdulillah, habis dah settle kita punya presentation. So minggu depan saya akan buat lecture untuk 3 chapter. Minggu depan juga saya rasa you all punya case study kan, submission. So jangan lupa Okay lah, selamat malam. Kalau yang nak main game tu silakan main game. Okay, itu saja. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum.
Terima kasih doktor.
Thank you,
Okay,
Doktor.
terima kasih doktor.
Thank you, doktor.